Thank you for joining me on the presentation of one of the most well-known mutualistic relationships in the tropics. Yes, I'm talking about the clownfish and the anemone. Now, clownfish are also known as anemone fish, and they consist of 26 different species, which come from 2 different genera, as you can see listed up here. I can't pronounce that, I won't do it injustice of trying. Now, there are 3 different families of anemone, however, which only have 10 different species that correlate with the symbiont clownfish, which is unusual if you ask me. Now, also unique and unusual is that this symbiosis is among 2 different members of the animal kingdom. That is rare when you're talking about symbiotic relationships. Even more rare is the size differentiation between the 2. As you can see in this photo, you can fit maybe 3, maybe 5 clownfish per anemone, but that's it. Usually there's more symbionts, vastly more, to the host. Now, this relationship has been building over 20 million years. This gives it a lot of time to adapt and become more dependent on each other. So, without further ado, we're going to move on over to this side over here. Alrighty. Now, living in the Indo-Pacific region, shown over here, this only shows 1 species, but this range is common amongst all clownfish. Living here, they have grown and adapted to each other, which is mandatory because anemone are part of the Cnidaria phylum. That means they have stinging cells. You need a lot of time to get used to those. How did they get used to it? Clownfish or anemone fish have adopted a coat, if you will, a slime that protects them from the stinging cells. This coat takes a long time to develop, and the clownfish has to readapt to it every time it leaves its host. That can take a while. Throughout this, backtracking, yes, it took a while to develop, but it was worth it because of it being a relationship worth fighting for. Yes, it's a defensive relationship, which means that each individual protects the other from its predators. The anemone protects the clownfish from other carnivorous fish. The fish protect the anemone from starfish, sea slugs, and other predators that would prey upon it. There are other benefits from their relationship, but it's primarily that. If you want to know more about their relationships, you can reference this chart right down here, which lists a couple more of their benefits. Now, this relationship, though it's the most popular, is not the only relationship that has these unique features. For example, in the similarities portion, if you'd like to reference that, there is forgot the name of it, but the goby fish, which defends their cnidarian host. They feed on the toxic algae that reside and attack different coral reefs, their home. That's similar to how clownfish protect their anemones. Also similar, or even more similar, should I say, is the damselfish. The damselfish take and provide similar services of the clownfish to their soft coral partners by aerating and protecting them from their predators. That has 2 of the benefits the clownfish provides to their host. But the limits, or the similarities between symbioses, are not limited by the water or the marine environments. There's even some on land that are similar. For example, the acacia tree, if I'm pronouncing that right, acacia tree, and their symbiont, a specific ant, also known as the acacia ant, have almost identical relationships as the anemone and the clownfish, in terms that they're both defensive. The tree protects the ants from ground-dwelling predators, and the ants protect the tree from herbivores and pathogenic bacteria. The plant also provides food for the ants, which anemones also provide food for their symbionts through dead tentacles. So there's lots of similarities between those two, which is phenomenal that there's an example on land. Now, as I mentioned before, this relationship has been developing for 20 million years, which allowed for a lot of adaptability and changes. Scientists have been researching this for many, many years. Despite their close evolutionary history, the most of the associations between anemones and anemone fish are generalistic, which we referenced over here in terms of their lack of specificity. That's all we have for right now. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me and reference the charts.
We only went over by like